What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, yes, February 9th, 2019, a placid Saturday morning. Pleased to join you. And, yes, welcome to the soon to be censored stream of pure hate speech. Here, using the First Amendment protections we have to desecrate all groups of people equally and push back against the cultural Marxism narratives of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's share it out on the Facebook. What's up, Kashava? My views on the Fifth Amendment. Well, I'll plead the fifth on that question, I believe. The Fifth Amendment is, I believe, your constitutional right there to not incriminate yourself in a court of law. And I support anything that, limits the power of the government to prosecute the individual for any arbitrary means there. And portray it as guilty in the media. There's an element of that because, if you're actually innocent of what you're being charged of, then you typically come out and vigorously defend yourself and make arguments to that end. But, if you're sitting there pleading the fifth, it seems like you have something to hide. Not always the case, but it's a little suspect, I would assume. Otherwise, are you hiding something? If you up there pleading that fifth, it's Chappelle show sketch where he pleads the FIF, fifth. What do you have to hide? That's the argument of the people for, why the NSA should be able to listen to all your conversations and read all your emails and all your texts and all your social media interactions. And that's, if you don't have anything to hide, well, what's the big deal? Just give up the Fourth Amendment is a bigger issue to me because that seems to be thrown out the window. Unreasonable searches and seizures there. Although a lot of people are voluntarily offering up all of their data just to be plundered by, the big social controllers there. And we're willingly offering it up on a platter for them. And they're taking it and they're using it, ladies and gentlemen, for some potential blackmail material if they shall need it. Do I think smoking weed is bad? No, it is not bad. Is it productive? I don't know. I mean, certain people have brain chemistry that works well with weed. I don't happen to be one of those individuals.
Because you're white?
I'm one of them white folk. I'm more partial to the alcohols with my German and Dutch ancestry. I don't know, the Dutch seem to Dutch down quite often. I mean, they seem to, that was the mecca of legal weed for a long time, is Amsterdam. And they seem to like smoking weed and kickboxing. And I could get down with either of those activities, dude. It just all depends on the context. Sometimes I'll be up late night shadow boxing and beating the shit out of some, imaginary people. And it builds my confidence and it builds my latissimus dorsi muscles there. I like Dutch culture. There's a bunch of tall people, you know, a bunch of tall, weed smoking, kickboxing people. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, I prefer, you know, the men I hang around with to be of a certain height. Otherwise, they automatically seem to have some resentment built into their personality, and they tend to fly off the hinge, in my experience, and overcompensate because they can't ride certain roller coasters. And it's a troubling existence. Says Kashava says if Trump decriminalizes weed, they could have it in the military like they allow cigarettes.
No.
That seems like it could be potentially troublesome there, because you know we're supposed to allow transgender people in the military. If we've got a bunch of stoned trannies on the front line, I don't think that's going to bode well for our national security.
Or stoned tranny haters. That's worse. That's way worse.
Is that worse?
Yeah, because they're gonna end up injuring people.
What's a tranny hater?
A person that is.
Is that me?
No, that's not you. You're just vocal about it. No, people that are genuinely don't like transgender people that are in. They will. Do you know the horrible things that already happen to people that aren't trans? Just the gay people that have happened, the assaults, the sexual assaults. No, and weed as your excuse? No, I'm fucking good. No, I feel bad for the trans people. Not that. What trans people are gonna do? Dress well? No, I'm good.
Is it really higher than the average general population than sexual assault?
I don't know if it's higher than it should be because it should be 0.
Well, what the general population doesn't get raped at a 0% rate.
I said it should be 0. It's higher than it should be because even 1% is too much for me. But whatever.
Yeah, that's true. We should probably eradicate rape before we go on to passing through Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal climate legislation. Fighting imaginary climate disasters that we can't prove are going to happen, but we tell you are going to happen. Meanwhile, we got trannies out here getting raped in the streets, everybody.
Yeah, people and trannies.
I don't know. It seems like transgenders would be more well equipped to defend against rape because they have man strength.
No, are you...
More well equipped than a natural born woman. You know, they got a little more muscle fiber. They got some dense skeletons there to be able to fend off the rape.
If it's one against more than one person, guess what? It doesn't matter how strong you are, bro.
How would you? What type of group of friends is that where they get together and gang rape a tranny?
You should look up.
That seems like a horrible Saturday night activity.
Those people exist.
It's kind of like just as probable as the people that went out in the negative 50-degree weather in Chicago looking for a gay black dude to pour bleach over his head and lynch him.
Because this is actually happening.
I don't know. You know, I mean, you don't have to commit violence against trannies. They're in their own. They're going to spiral down of their own accord.
It's more about your mental state being altered by weed, whether you're trans or straight. That should not be. If you have guns in your hand, I would not. No, I mean, unless tobacco is something that's everyone high, no one talks about it. That's the difference. The mental state alteration.
Of weed?
Yes, this tobacco make you all like, oh man, I'm so hungry, man, my sativa or whatever, anything. No, tobacco comes in one type, tobacco. Like, that's it. Just different. No.
Well, it makes you get lung tumors and die.
But it doesn't alter your immediate state, whether good or bad. No, I don't want to smoke it. I'm going to go in it.
I think there's an occasional value in weed, like a once a week type thing.
But not,
because often when I smoke weed, then I lay down to go to bed and I come up with joke ideas out of nowhere and stuff that I wouldn't have originally thought of if I wasn't stoned. And it has an occasional value, but it does kind of disconnect you from normal reality in a way that's not always good. Then you end up like Joe Rogan, defending Jack Dorsey and condemning Alex Jones because, you know, Alex Jones is just hateful, and you disregard everything he's ever done in the exposure of truth going on in the world, and, you know, you focus on mainstream media horseshit smear campaigns that have been, you know, carried out against Alex Jones. The legend Alex Jones, I stand steadfastly defend that man at all costs, and I proudly have an InfoWars bumper sticker on my car, and I hope it triggers everyone in the Los Angeles traffic that sees it behind me. And I believe I've gotten honked at, you know, on more than one occasion, just for that fact alone, and I take pride in it, because I don't honk and harass the people with Bernie bumper stickers. I just laugh at them and pass them because they're going 25 miles an hour in a 40 zone, and their car is piled to the brim with trinkets and nonsense, and it seems like they're living out of it. And you know, they want some government handouts there, and they're just fodder for my laughter. And Kashava says we should add P in LGBTQ to encourage polygamy. That took a hard turn there. I thought you were going to go with the endorsement of pedophilia, and I was going to have to ban you from the stream. But polygamy is weird, dude. I mean, you're gonna have kids and then just invite a bunch of new mommies and daddies into the situation and not expect your kid to be all fucked up. And especially when you pair it with Mormonism. Like, don't Mormons believe that we're created on a different planet and then flown here by aliens? And I don't know. I might be confusing it with the Scientology narrative there, but polygamy just seems weird. Like, if you want to be with multiple girls, just don't get married. Why are you going to get married to multiple women?
Polyamory exists, bro.
Well, he's talking about polygamy.
Polygamy is different. Polyamory, you can still be married.
Well, I thought that was the difference. Like, polyamory is like just being with multiple people, and you don't necessarily have to be married. But polygamy, I thought, was actually being married to multiple people.
That he just needs to just shift over to polyamory. It's fine. Get your dick sucked and still be married, whatever.
Just pull that Bill Clinton, you know. Just get your dick sucked and still be married. It's the best of both worlds.
But don't lie about it. This is without the lies though, because your partner knows.
Don't lie about it. All right.
Polyamory, you let your partner know because you have agreement. Duh.
Don't.
It's called cheating. Like.
Don't lie about, you know, flying on the private jet with Jeffrey Epstein to, you know, the Passion Island there.
Get your dick sucked out loud.
Kashava says being off weed makes him an asshole.
Well, then stay on weed, honey.
Some people, you know, are super aggressive by nature, and I don't know. I feel like that's why black people do better with weed.
Wow.
Black people seem seem to do better with weed.
Damn, I can't even.
Well, it's scientifically true that black people have higher testosterone levels.
Oh my god. I'm gonna go away. I can't. The fact that you just said that out loud.
I feel like black people do better with weed.
Talking.
Snoop Dogg thrives more than anyone on weed.
I'm so done with you. I'm so done.
I mean, they just have higher testosterone levels. So, you know, the weed brings them down to a normal level. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe since I've been in the gym and I've been working out regularly, weed won't affect me as much. But I know when I wasn't working out and I probably had a lower testosterone level, weed would fuck me up to the point where I just couldn't function socially. and I would descend into nonsense very quickly. Nothing productive, and but there's a lot of rappers that they just function off of the weed. Kashava says it gets him paranoid as fuck. Well, I guess you got a choice to make there. You can either be angry or paranoid. So, But occasionally it's good to be paranoid. If you're too overconfident, then you're not reevaluating everything you're doing in your life, and you're not making necessary changes. And that's what I do when I get stoned on occasion, and I have a productive stone moment. Is I take inventory of everything I'm doing in my life, and figure out what's working and figure out what's not working, and then I prioritize. That's what weed's good for me, is prioritizing what's important. Like, that's when, like, I would I went to college when I was 18 for engineering, and I got to my dorm room, and everybody on my hallway had a goddamn weed vaporizer, and they knew how to roll blunts, and so everybody was smoking weed every night of the week. And this was in Oklahoma when it was hardcore illegal. If you get caught with that shit, it's like you're going to jail, sonny. So people were taking some risks, but I would smoke with these people, and then I would feel super uncomfortable just in general. And I thought it was a problem with me, and looking back on it, it seems like it was like I was recognizing fundamentally that I was in the wrong place in my life. Like, I kind of went to college for engineering just to satisfy my parents' desires to, I was like the first kid in my family that went to college, and I want to make my parents proud there, and so I went and braved the calculus classes, and it wasn't overwhelming. I mentally, because I can do all that shit, but I was just like, I have this brain, like, whenever sometimes I get real indecisive, because everything I do, I imagine myself doing like 1,000 times over. Like, everything I do during my day, I imagine that being part of my schedule for the next year. And I'm like, am I going to be the guy that does this thing? And so, because if I make the rationalization of like, oh, I'm going to just do this for tonight, well, then, am I going to make that rationalization the next night, the next 2 nights, the next 3 nights? Am I going to keep doing this thing? Like, am I going to keep, drinking this much, or like smoking a cigarette, or like, am I going to keep doing these things over and over? So that's what my brain automatically does, is universalize the things I'm doing, and like, is this productive long term? And so when I was in college for engineering, I was like looking around and like looking at the classes I was going to, and like, I was like, am I gonna do this for the rest of my life? Like, is this what I want to do? And I was just fundamentally, there was that like unsettling, like weird energy about being in that situation. And I was like, I felt like there was something wrong with me, but there was something wrong with the situation I had put myself in. And I had to realize that. And weed, I look back on it, and it felt weird weird as fuck in the moment, and I felt like I was the awkward one in the group. But looking back on it, it kind of like pushed me away from it, and it helped me reevaluate my priorities to what I think is important. And I came home and I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And I started writing, little bullshit movie scripts, and started listening to Joe Rogan and thinking about doing stand-up. And then, I went back to college for creative writing and film, and then I met Mr. Kevin Pollard Jr. there, and he came out to LA, And yeah, I had a real reevaluating moment, and I tried to be a online poker pro, and all of this bullshit, and I finally came to the solution that, like, this is what I need to do. I need to do comedy and speak truth, and come out to LA and face the demons out here, and you know say some truth to power. What's up, Crusader? Welcome to the stream here. Congratulations, happy censorship every day forever. Woo! Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the inevitable censorship this channel will face. Um, it's a badge of honor in today's society. If you're saying anything that means anything whatsoever, you gonna get kicked off, because that I wanted to talk about how censorship used to be under like religious right wing conservatism versus what it is now under the social justice left. And I feel like it's much more pervasive and nefarious now under the left wing, because the right wing religious censorship was kind of all just about don't say fuck, don't say shit, don't say these curse words. And oh yeah, they're terrified. And I have heard of Bovada Kashava. I have played a few poker tournaments on there, but I dearly miss Poker Stars and Full Tilt Poker, where I made all my money. And the benevolent government, realized that that was wrong for me to do, and shut down my activity there, and saved me from myself, like seatbelt laws and laws and the drug laws that pat me on the head and tell me that I'm hurting myself, and they know what's best, and they're gonna figure it out. The government overlords know how to run your life, okay, and you must accept it. So yeah, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, right-wing censorship versus left-wing censorship. So with the downfall of Christianity has come an overflow of you can't find a comedian now that doesn't say fuck, shit, cunt, ass, whatever curse word you can come up with. It's not even shocking anymore, which is why you watch Netflix and you don't laugh. You watch these Netflix comics, and it's like they're still living in this reality where they're like, oh, this is taboo to say, like, to talk about my dick on stage, or like say fuck a lot of times, or like this is really aggravating the religious right, when it's like that was edgy in the 80s when Bill Hicks and George Carlin were doing it. Like like now you can say fuck all you want. Like the biggest entertainment podcasts and shows and everything, they're super vulgar, and like sex is everywhere. It's all over TV. Porn is all over the internet. It's one click away. You can see a gangbang, bukkake, fuckfest 9,000 times 10 anytime you want, and there's no restrictions on that. And there's this big hookup culture, especially out here in Hollywood. And like part of the fun of that was like it was taboo and you weren't supposed to do it. But now it's just kind of like it's gotten to the point of oversaturation where it's like, what is the point of this? What is the point of, like, there's nobody you're upsetting by talking about porn and dicks and shit and fuck and cunt, and it's like nobody's even offended by any of this shit anymore. So it's not edgy. Now, so that was the religious right-wing censorship that's kind of crumbled away with the rise of atheism and the downfall of Christianity. To an extent, that is rightful. I mean, I am an atheist. I don't accept the tenets of Christian metaphysics there. I don't think Jesus was a zombie. I don't think he walked on water. I don't believe in a concept of God. I'm not spiritual. Okay, I don't believe in a soul. Um, None of that can be empirically proven. None of it can be, logically argued to exist. And so I only believe in what I can logically prove or empirically show. And so it's legitimate that the Christian metaphysics were mocked and taken down and casted aside. And with that came, the influx of all of this sex and vulgarity and everything that is mainstream culture now. So then there's what is it? What is the censorship thing? This is going to corrupt people's minds, especially like the youth. This is always the excuse that's made. This is going to corrupt the youth. This is bad for society. It's like that universalization thing I was just talking about before with the engineering school thing. It's like, if we keep doing this thing, if we keep promoting this vulgarity, this sexuality, is that going to, be pervasive in society and create negative results? There's an argument to be made that, the results have not been positive from the sexual liberation there. It's a lot easier to get pussy, but now they're passing laws to have, late-term abortions, and even after the baby is born, we can slit its throat and, be happy about it. It's gotten to a point of weirdness. What's up, MSA? What replaced Christianity is the religion of leftism. That's what replaced it, and that's the new censorship. If you are a heretic against the religious tenets of leftism, that we need big government, we need a big welfare system, we need to be compassionate through the government somehow, which has a gun to your head taking your tax money. That's compassion. Don't be a bigot. Pay your tax money. But the religious tenets of leftism have to do with, demonizing straight white males, and then everybody else is a victim. And you have to pay 70% tax rates because climate change is real, and it's very impendingly dangerous, and we're all going to burn. Despite, it's negative 50 degrees in Chicago right now, but we're all getting warmer. And, so don't exhale and pay your carbon taxes to Al Gore. And support Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal, because we need to go into every building in the United States and completely remodel it and change everything up based on what her juvenile teenage brain says that you need to do. Okay, you need to listen to her stern, bright lipstick face, where she sits there and doesn't clap for improved job numbers and lower minority unemployment. But you say that there's more women in Congress than ever, and it's like, oh, oh yes, us. Because they're the victims and they must be celebrated at all costs. And that's part of the religion of leftism. So that is the new censorship. If you speak out and you point out the hypocrisies in the religion of leftism, if you point out how taxation is theft, if you point out how socialism doesn't work, if you point out the infantile, ignorant mind state of these people, well, you're a hateful bigot like Alex Jones, and you need to be digitally castrated and, cast aside from, the public square. Because you're corrupting the youth, just like Socrates was, and just like Bill Hicks and George Carlin were in the 1980s. That is the new heresy, is to say that white straight males aren't totally evil. And, you know, that sometimes women lie about rape allegations. And sometimes, you know, it's not just that the police are racist against black people, it's that black people have a higher percentage of criminality. Oh, they commit more crimes. And so the police profile them because they're more criminal on average. That is the heresy that cannot be spoken, ladies and gentlemen. It is tantamount to Voldemort. You should not speak it. Do not speak of the criminality of the black community, or we will excommunicate you from the community, sir. You are the bigot in this equation, and you will not be tolerated. This heresy will not be tolerated. And you will be shunned. You will be deplatformed. You will be de-testicled. What's up, Mank48? Yeah, he says, I've never met a black person who didn't believe blacks commit more crimes. It seems only liberal whites and college kids don't realize that. Exactly. Exactly. Black people are so, like, grounded in reality in general. I mean, there are the radicalized black people that, you know, they get on these liberal causes and, you know, they get hyped up in the race narrative. But, you know, there's a lot of black people, like my wonderful roommate here, who, you know, they're connected to reality, and they don't fucking like shun it, and they're like, well, I know the statistics say that, but don't mention that because that's racist. So, you know. But it is the white liberals getting offended on behalf of someone else. That's always what it is. It's never actual black people getting pissed off. Like was any black person's day ruined by the picture of the Virginia governor coming out with blackface?
No.
They were like, oh my God,
We all didn't give a fuck unless you're bored.
I can't return from this. I'm forever damaged.
He scarred me.
I'm scarred for life.
Because slavery wasn't enough. Real talk though.
Were black people really, you know, up in arms about Versace's blackface sweater?
Ooh, amazing.
Did you see that?
I would buy it. You showed me it. I would definitely buy it.
It was half blackface. You know, it was, you know.
No, but let me tell you, I was so freaking like proud of Versace or whoever the designer was for being like, you know what? You want to call us racist? Fuck off. Do this. And then they took it down. I was like, stand behind your word. Like, I guarantee all the black people would wear it, and all the white people would wear it. Because the white people would be too scared to buy it at first, like, I'm not racist. But all the black people would wear it and be like, this shit cool. And then all the white people would wear it, and then they would be called racist anyway. Like, honestly, I think Versace, bring that shit back. I would fucking wear that shit. Period.
If black people wear a blackface sweater, is that like a double negative?
That makes you albino.
It becomes whiteface. But it's half whiteface. The turtleneck only came up over the half of the face, and so, you know, I have a right to be offended as well, and I'm outraged.
I want to be all black, not half black.
I'm outraged by you know, Dave Chappelle's wearing a whiteface in the racial draft there, the sketch, and it's just criminal.
If anything, shouldn't we be like, I don't know, like happy because like just like tanning, which is not nearly as bad or intense, but I would say thank you for wanting to look like me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Y'all get tans, y'all get big booty implants. So
I think I'm gonna do blackface on the podcast.
I think he should. I should do blackface. We should definitely. Who says yes? Vote yes. Maybe no. Maybe. I'm down.
Where am I from? I'm from the beautiful plains of Oklahoma. From Ponca City, Oklahoma, the lands of the Indians that we stole.
Oh my God.
Oh, and you know, we decimated them with the smallpox there, and it was totally deliberate. It was a deliberate genocide, and we gave them casinos in return. And no, but yes, I am from Oklahoma. Humble beginnings, ladies and gentlemen. I was born into a trailer home, and I've come out to commie Hollywood, and a hillbilly is loose in Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. What are my thoughts on Owen Benjamin? Owen Benjamin is awesome, man. I totally respect what he's doing, going against the Hollywood system and making himself self-sufficient. And I totally respect the lifestyle, having a family and having a farm and shit and fucking growing crops and being totally self-sufficient and off the grid. One thing I disagree with Owen Benjamin on is his religious kick. I believe he has a lot of people that are close to him in his life, like in his family, that are religious, and they've influenced him to kind of believe that that's the truth. And he is usually very logically consistent, but when it comes to religion and evolution, he kind of goes off the path there. And, there's a lot of good things about Christianity in comparison to other religions, but he makes a lot of illogical leaps when it comes to religion, and I can't get down with that. I mean, I respect Christianity to a degree because of the role it's played in the development of Western civilization, but Jesus was not a zombie, and he didn't walk on water. The Bible has a lot of good moral tales to glean some messages and some truisms from, but to take it literally is a little bit fucking crazy. I don't know if we went to the moon or not. I don't know enough about the Van Allen belt and radiation and whether or not it's physically possible. What's up, T1337 dude? What up, Sadiq Ahmed? Why is this on your feed? Because this is the truth feed. All right, you've landed at the portal of truth and understanding, and I'm here describing the cultural narratives and serving them up hot. All right. And hot and steaming truth bombs here on the Outrage TV podcast, the Federal Outrage Commune. We're just as federal as the Federal Reserve. And
Not so reserved.
do feel free to send in your paychecks to me, and I will, decide as the Federal Outrage Chancellor how much of your paychecks you get back. And I will decide how much private time I have with your wives, and, we're going to have a good time.
And sex toys.
There may or may not be sex toys. I will handle that in private with your wives, and that's not to be inquired into. Okay, you leave that.
Don't tell.
It's just like we can't audit the Federal Reserve. You can't audit the Federal Outrage Chancellor and his behavior with your wife behind closed doors. That's between me and her, and we're gonna keep everything satisfied. All right. I run this operation just like the Federal Reserve because I know where my bread is buttered.
I think you have to eat pussy for that. That might be a requirement.
Oh, we got a little combatants in the comments here. Somebody asking Sadiq if Muhammad was a pedophile. I think that's objectively true, and I think that they're proud of it, and it's okay. People just have to come to terms with Muhammad's pedophilia and his love for 6-year-old girls and marrying them and then, deflowering them when they're 9. That's, it was, who asked? It was the Crusader there. The Crusader, crusading for the truth of pedophile prophets. Now, I don't know if Jesus messed around with kids, but if he did, they at least had the decency to leave that out of their holy book. They edited that part out. Should we have the part where Jesus has the party where he turns all the kids' apple juice into wine, or should probably leave that out?
Jesus did not bless nobody.
Sadiq Ahmed says, no, in earlier times it was normal for girls to get married at young age. Well, before they hit puberty, it's pretty creepy. MSA says, are there any conservative artist networking groups in LA? Well, I go to the little place called the Fourth Wall Comedy Club out here in North Hollywood, and it's known as the white supremacist comedy club, and we all wear our hoods and we go on stage and we do our sets. No, I'm just kidding. It, it's the most politically incorrect comedy establishment out here, and we take pride in that. And you can say anything you motherfucking want, and it's just got to be funny. I mean, and anybody who gets offended, they are automatically usually in the wrong. I mean, if people are getting laughs and you're like there was this situation the other night where this dude made a reference to people of color, like there were black people in the audience, and like he shouldn't be saying this joke, but it got a big laugh when he got off stage, and then one of the black dudes in the audience took offense to it and was like, "Oh, that as a black man, that you said coloreds, and that really pissed me off." And he like made this whole subjective thing up in his head where the guy said coloreds instead of people of color, and it's like that doesn't fly at the Fourth Wall. Like, you can't just make up some horse shit and pretend to be offended by it and try to control what other people are saying. Like, so as far as conservative artist establishment, it's not necessarily conservative. There's a lot of liberal people there, but they're liberal people who don't. They at least have a spine. You know, that's the most you could hope for in LA. Is, you know, they don't totally cuck out and just adhere to the social justice narrative and just only make fun of Trump and white people. There's a lot of creative shit going on at the Fourth Wall, and you know, proud to be a part of the establishment there. Shout out to Joe Menente, the godfather of Fourth Wall in North Hollywood. It's a wonderful place. Wonderful place to develop your comedic stylings there. Uh, 1337 dude says, do you know LA improv comedian James Heaney? No, I do not, sir. No, I do not. Funny little story about the Hollywood Improv. I did a set there right before the election in 2016, and I was talking about Donald Trump, and of course everybody at the Hollywood Improv is a bunch of social justice infantile morons, and especially at the lab open mic. And so I went up there and talked about how we've always wanted an outsider candidate, right? That's not as connected to the political establishment. Well, here he is. And all anybody can talk about is how he said he likes to grab pussy. Now, he did say they let you grab him by the pussy, which, despite how the media tried to frame that as sexual assault, when they let you grab him by the pussy, that's called, drum roll, a groupie. That's called a groupie that really gets turned on when she sees a guy's name on the side of his private jet and his name on the side of a gold-plated building that he, you know, ordered to be built. Because when you're a man like Donald Trump, you kind of have to grab pussy to keep it from hitting you in the face, because it's flying at you 100 miles an hour. And, you know, you got to grab it to not get a face full of pussy. And so you can't really blame the guy. And I went up there and was doing this bit at the Hollywood Improv. And goddamn, you could hear a pin drop, dude. They hated me. Oh my God, it was so hilarious. And then I got off stage and I walked straight the fuck out of the club. And one of the dudes from the crowd ran up to me after, and he was like, "Dude, that fucking took balls, man. Like that was crazy." I'm like, I've never seen anybody do a joke like that in Hollywood, and I was like, "All right, man." It was a little bit awkward because I was like, "Well, why weren't you laughing then? If you thought it was so great, why weren't you laughing?" It's like that's a thing out here in LA where it's like people need permission to laugh. You know, it's kind of like the State of the Union address where the people like, you know, the Democrats were like looking at each other wondering if they should applaud for Trump condemning, you know, not killing babies outside of the fucking womb. Oh, thanks, dude. You the man. 1337, dude. What up, Nick? What do you mean, Nick? Oh, Nick and Rick are coming at me. What's up, fellas? Oh, I'm not pretending to let the comments bother me. I don't get bothered, brother. You want some beef? What's up, Nazgul? Come at me then. What's up, Brandon? You goddamn right I'm a Looney Tune. Drop a motherfucking anvil on my head, bruh. I'll spring right back the fuck up. Nazgul said I should have never trusted Hollywood. It's not that I trust Hollywood, it's that I love a good challenge, and my dick gets hard when I get in confrontations. That's the honest truth. I mean, you're looking at a guy who voted for Obama when he lived in Oklahoma and voted for Trump when he lived in LA, bro. I got no problem with confrontation. All right? I thrive off of hate. I don't have a small penis, girls. This is untrue. You look at my hands right here. I got them basketball hands, bro. What does that tell you? I'm packing some Patriot heat, baby. That's what the Outrage stream is all about. All right? We're long dicking the establishment. All right? Until we're going to fuck them till they love us. That's what Outrage TV is, baby. Mike Tyson style, baby. We're coming with that fucking left hook to the body, body head, dude. We're coming fast, dude. Alt-light. I love the term alt-right, you know, because it simultaneously applies to libertarians and Nazis at the same time. That's just juicy and delicious, isn't it? You know what libertarians really mean when they say they want a small government is they want a giant tyrannical government with concentration camps. That's what they really mean. Oh, dude. Alt-right. That's like the slanderous term of the day. They label Stefan Molyneux with alt-right. They label fucking Alex Jones alt-right. It's just anybody that threatens the establishment power structure is alt-right. And they're like, you know, some kind of white supremacist motherfucker. And it's like, it's so fake. People can see right through it. That's why their propaganda isn't working, because, you know, they look around the society they live in, and it's like, do you see any white supremacist motherfuckers like getting endorsed by anybody? Like, I've only met one white supremacist in my entire life. He was bumming outside of a Starbucks in Burbank, California, sitting on the curb drinking a Mike's Hard Lemonade, dude, with a sunburnt ass fucking head. He didn't have a lot of power. He was sitting there fucking... He looked at me and saw the baby blues, and he was like, "Hey, brother, you like what Trump's been doing for us, brother?" And I was like, "Dude, that's not why I voted for Trump, motherfucker. I just really didn't want Hillary in that position of power. We couldn't have that goddamn identity politics witch sitting on the throne trying to put no-fly zones into Syria and start war with Russia and, you know, build up her bank account in the fucking Clinton Foundation. I'm not on board with all of that horse shit, ladies and gentlemen. Trump was, like I said it last stream, I think Trump is the beaver dam that intelligent people quickly, you know, built to stop the fucking impending communist social justice horseshit tidal wave that was looming over the country. And so we're like, all right, fuck it, Donald Trump. We got to get somebody in there that's going to take these people to task and be somewhat competent and battle tested. Because Hillary just, oh my God, what a demon. And you know, despite her corruption and the email thing where she totally exposed all of the classified information to the rest of the world, anybody who could do basic hacking techniques could get in and see classified information on her private server that was to escape the Freedom of Information Act and everything. Like, despite all of that, you look at her on the campaign trail and she was hacking and in the middle of every speech, she's like, what the fuck is this? This bitch is like, she's got a hairball. What the fuck? You've been eating the pussy of your Muslim campaign organizer. What was her name? I can't even remember her name. Anyway. And then on the 9/11 memorial, she literally passes the fuck out and they got to chuck her in a van like a side of beef and, you know, whisk her away to get some kind of exorcism done, apparently. And so they could wheel her out later to the presidential theme. It's Weekend at Hillary's. Your new president. We doped her up on fentanyl so she could function. It's the leader of the free world, everybody. Hillary Clinton. And no thanks. No thanks. I'll take the God Emperor Donald Trump every day of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck what you heard on the mainstream media. Donald Trump knows how to get shit done, okay? You don't come up in the New York real estate industry without knowing a little something about something. So that's that on fucking Hillary. Nazgul says the after dinner debate showed us that Cardinal Dolan handles Trump like Spellman to JFK. I don't know what that means. 1337 dude says we can't defend ourselves as white people despite the fact we are being attacked as white people and we will lose if we don't defend ourselves. Yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Just the idea of in-group preference among, you know, a racial group. You see the racial groups that are succeeding in general, they have some strong in-group preference. You know, let's put some parentheses around this discussion because I'm talking about the Jews. All right, they one of the things the Jews do very well is they have a strong in-group preference. They pressure their daughters to marry Jewish men, and the whole family goes and shops at the kosher deli and the kosher market, and they buy from their own. They keep their money in their own community. Now, white people are a weird designation of a racial group because there's so many different types of white people. Like, it's kind of been lost. Like, white people have kind of grouped into like one like amalgamous fucking blob. But it used to be like, you know, you were identified as a German, as an Irishman, as an Italian, as a, you know, as a French person. But that's kind of been lost. It's like everything is kind of just smeared together in the label of white. And it's like, if you do that, well, all of a sudden white people don't really have a lot in common. I mean, I'm German and Dutch. So, you know, despite that, I'm trying to work my way into this Jewish conspiracy out here in Hollywood, dude. I'm trying to sell my movie scripts, and I'm trying to become manager of my apartment complex because I want free rent, baby. I want to be a part of the, you know, I want to work my way up to the Federal Reserve. And, you know, I'm trying to be that federal outrage chancellor, baby. And, I mean, let's put historical differences aside. I mean, I know, you know, the Germans haven't been too kind to the Jews in the past. But let's put all that aside, baby, because I'm just trying to do some business deals with these with these Jewish fellows out here in Hollywood. And let's do some cocaine and make some money together. That's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna, I'll stop talking about the Federal Reserve, uh, and I'll shill out for Israel, and that's the deal, baby. No, I mean, I have much less of a problem with the state of Israel as I do these leftist, like, weirdo Jews that, like, are just obsessed with, materialism and fucking money grubbing and um, all right, Nick, you seem to want to you need a little time out there. You're getting a timeout for 300 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. He's just coming on the stream to troll me. Oh, he's the troll under the bridge, ladies and gentlemen. That don't work with me, baby. I'll just put your nose in the corner. You got to think about what you just did, all right? I'm the type of motherfucker, I'll put you right up next to your sibling and make you say something nice about him. Look him in the eyes, all right? Now you got to say something nice about me when you come back on the stream, or else I'm gonna put you back in timeout. All right, that's how it works. Because we're all about discipline and being kosher here on the Outrage TV podcast, and oh, it's not about censorship. It's about getting what you deserve, ladies and gentlemen. You treat people nice the first time you meet them, and after that, you treat them how they treat you, baby. It's that reciprocation. Because he's coming in here spreading false propaganda about my dick size, and that's just not going to fly, ladies and gentlemen. I will have it be known, all right? The federal outrage chancellor is working with a peace on it, all right? And because I intend on, fucking these globalist scum to death, all right? And you need a peace on you if you're going to accomplish that task, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck them till they love you. That's not rape. That's gentleman's rape. Wow. Rick Smith says, "Why is this suggested by YouTube?" Because they probably they sense their impending demise as far as their leftist social justice horseshit, and so the truth is finally being promoted. The tide is turning, and some common sense, patriotic, bad motherfuckerism is being promoted on YouTube. I'm glad to hear it. And although I would like to get banned at some point just to get a badge of honor. Maybe I should talk more about the Jewish conspiracy that's enveloping the country here. My problem is I don't think it's so much of a global banking conspiracy as much as it is they have a higher average IQ than your average bird out there, and so they typically filter up to the highest, the highest positions of finance, and they take those positions. I don't necessarily blame them. They got the high verbal IQ, and they're rocking it how they're rocking it, baby. I'm just trying to get on this Jewish conspiracy train. All right. I want a piece of that kosher cake, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm gonna talk all the shit. I'm gonna talk about the leftist, socialist retards, but I also want my movies to be up on that billboard, dude. I want to throw it in their face. I want to turn Hollywood around, because it's about time we had a fucking spring cleaning out here in Hollywood. We get all these fucking ghouls and goblins and fucking Weinsteins and Cosbys. We sweep them up, and we disinfect the corners, and we bring the truth back to the mainstream. That's what I'm trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, out here in motherfucking Hollywood, and we gonna make it happen with your help. All right, just hang out with me on the stream, and fucking like it if you like it, share it out if you like. I got a Bitcoin address down below. I'm hustling out that rent money any way I can, baby. Oh, we're having fun on a Saturday morning, ain't we? We having fun out there? Oh, Rick's in Australia. Damn, you down with them? You down with them fucking dangerous animals, dude? You better keep an eye out for that damn spider creeping up on your shoulder, dude. That's that troubling territory down there in that goddamn Australia. That's you know, don't be wading out into them waters. You might get chopped in half by a goddamn shark, dude. You might get, you know, you might run into that Crocodile Dundee knife, son. That's that hard living down under. All right, you're gonna have to get you a blooming onion and just make the best of it. What type of movies do I write? I write crazy action comedies, man. There's this one that I wrote about a hillbilly motherfucker who gets caught up in the MK Ultra conspiracy. Which one of my favorite proven conspiracies is the MK Ultra situation that the CIA knowingly dosed people up with LSD just to see what the fuck happened. We just pull motherfuckers off the streets, or like people that are in you know, veterans hospitals and shit. We just dose them up with LSD and just what's gonna happen? And you know, torture them and try to make patsies out of them and shit. So in mine, this hillbilly from West Virginia gets caught up in the MK Ultra situation, and they try to make him into a patsy to assassinate the president. And so that was one of them. And then I wrote another one, a blaxploitation movie. Oh, Nick, you're back. You got to say something nice about me. That's the rule, or else you're going to be put in time out again. All right, say something nice. Let's be friendly. I wrote another one, blaxploitation movie, where I want Eddie Murphy to play the main character named Freddie Mac, and he gets fired from his job for smoking weed and divorced, and but his one saving grace is he has a giant dick on him. All right, he's hung hefty. All right, and so he goes to this hotel room because his wife kicks him out of his house, and he finds $10 million under the bed in his hotel room, and goes on a spending spree and buys a Lamborghini and all these nice clothes and shit, and decides to go into the porn industry when he meets these two twin white chicks that are getting into porn, and pretends he's a producer, and it's called Panther Tale. And the story is about the people who actually originally had the money chasing him down and trying to get the shit back. So, Panther Tale. Crazy ass blaxploitation action comedy. And I've had some meetings out here with these Jews, and you know, there's been some discussions, but nothing has surfaced thus far. Thank you, Rick Chapman. Thank you, Nick. You're appreciating the hustle. You can stay in the chat. I'm out here trying. I'm trying to you know, bend the will of this Jewish conspiracy to the truth a little bit, and bring them on my side. Why are you creeping over my shoulder?
Sorry, because I heard you saying so much and it was so wrong about your. Never mind.
You think I'm giving away my stories ideas?
Yes!
Well, they gotta write it if they're gonna write it. I'm getting another White Claw, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you said you were only gonna drink a few.
I had one, and then this is two. Don't be hassling.
I'm sorry, I'm black. I can't help it.
Yes, this is like a horror movie. I'm getting stalked by a black woman here.
Ew, no one would stop.
She's atop the diversity pyramid. She's trying to take advantage of her diversity privilege, and it's very apparent. Okay, I don't care what assets you were born with. All right.
I have a fat ass and small waist. What do you have?
Yeah, I was inspired by Owen Benjamin to get on the White Claw. I have always enjoyed, you know, the Perrier, the seltzer situation there, and you know, it feels way better than beer. I already gave her a White Claw. Yeah, the affirmative action. I have fulfilled my, you know, my my responsibilities to be inclusive We got to be inclusive. You know, like the Rooney Rule in football. Like, that's the most condescending shit ever. Like, when you're interviewing for a new head coach, you literally have to interview a black guy. Like, and you just, like, if you're that black guy that goes in there and, like, they're just like, what do you got for us, Blackie? And he's got to be just like, you know, like, why am I even fucking here? Like, this, so condescending and so fundamentally racist. Like, the whole diversity narrative is just an excuse to be anti-straight white male. It's literally all it is. We have a very diversified workforce. No, you have a limit on your white dudes. And that's all that is. Like, I applied for this coffee shop job when I was struggling here a couple years back. And on Hollywood Boulevard, right near where I live, I applied for this coffee shop job, trained for a week. That's what they do out here in Hollywood. They don't like hire you or not hire you. It's like, it's this like week-long limbo process where you fucking like train for the job and they like determine whether or not you're right for it. I did everything right, didn't fuck up once, and didn't get the job. And I was like, all right, whatever. Went in there to get an espresso a week later, and I saw who they did hire. A transgender, pink-haired, 300-pound, metal-pierced faced motherfucker just walking around serving espressos. And I was like, oh, how the fuck was I supposed to compete with that fucking diversity hurricane, dude? Like, how the fuck am I supposed to compete with that? Like, I would have had to like attach myself to like a set of fucking horse legs and like clip clop my way in there. Like, I identify as a centaur. All right, I'm very diverse. And they're like, you didn't know our pastry chef is already a centaur. You're way behind. You know. That's how it goes in Hollywood, baby. Yeah, fuck being a barista. That's grunt work, baby. I'm out here doing these Postmate situations now to get my rent going. Stay in Beverly Hills. I deliver to the lazy people, lazy rich people in their mansions and shit. You know, bunch of angry white women, angry for no reason, living in a goddamn Pablo Escobar compound. You know, they crack the fucking door open just a tiny. They don't even want you to see the perfect view that you've always wanted. And like, they crack the door open and it's the perfect life you've always wanted. Just just like amazing view of the city. And you know, they don't even want you to see it. They're so used to it, they don't even enjoy it anymore. They're like, their only enjoyment is not letting you see it. Give me the bag. Okay. All right. The fuck out of here. Aren't you parked in the red, faggot? Get out of here. They don't want you to see it. Yeah, dude. So, yeah, there's no more right-wing censorship anymore. Like, the right has really improved with the downfall of religion. Like, they're much less, like, sanctimonious and, you know, asshole-ish since the downfall of religion. And they're kind of just letting gay people be gay, and they're letting porn be all over the internet, and they're letting everybody say fuck, shit, and cunt, and it's just like they're letting it all roll off their back. And now the leftists are the ones that are the stuffy fucking fundamentalists, like, you know, hardcore idiots. Like, that's the social justice left, is the evangelical uprising to replace Christianity. Is the social justice left. you have to embrace diversity and multiculturalism because, the Democratic Party can't get any votes from the actual American people. They've got to import third world immigrants that don't quite understand their hoodwink tricks and can easily be bussed around to voting stations and registered under dead people's names. And so that's the new freedom. The new freedom is being ruled by third world immigrants. Okay, so the people in the Beverly Hills mansions can have Esther, the the Salvadorian illegal immigrant, do all of their chores in their house, and they don't have to pay an actual, they don't have to pay a person who demands a wage to do the chores in their house. They can just pawn that off and get votes for the Democratic Party at the same time. Win-win, baby. Don't question multiculturalism or diversity. It's just for your own good. All right? Self-hating white people, we know you're guilty. We know you like lashing yourself over the thought of Native American genocide and slavery. All right? So just vote for the left and grin and bear it. You know you like paying 70% tax rates. You know you love it. You love it. It's all going to be wiped away with the impending climate apocalypse that Al Gore has been predicting is going to happen in the next 5 years for the past 30 years. It's eventually going to happen. All right? Predictions don't have any necessarily important time scale or anything like that. It's not important. What's important is you bow down and admit you're evil for participating in your climate footprint there. It's basically like the Bigfoot footprint, all right? You're out there raping and stinking, just like Bigfoot with your carbon emissions, pure evil. Crusader says, are whites the best at war? High IQ, right level of testosterone, have the best hunter pack. Yeah, whites are pretty fucking good at war, dude. Whites are pretty fucking good at war. That's a good breakdown there. We got, enough intelligence. We're not so intelligent like the Jews where we're like all neurotic and gold. Like, it's not that much. We're not like the Asians where it's like we're so high IQ that we can't even be creative. It's like, well, I like this. I make it. I make a recreation of Paris in Japan. It's not like, they just obsessively build bridges over and over and over and, it's not that bad. We have just enough intelligence where we're like, we kind of feel bad about ourselves, but we're kind of, confident at the same time in our ideas. And just enough testosterone, not so much testosterone that we're going around, doing drive-by shootings and fucking making rap songs and, fucking everything that moves. Like some of these fucking people out here. We're not like that. But, like Stephen Molyneux puts it, white people are really, really nice until we're not. until white people are absolutely sure that they're getting fucked over, then they're really hospitable and really, welcoming, as evidenced by, America and Europe. We get guilted into letting all these third world migrants come in as refugees to our country and subvert our culture and not assimilate, and we're just like, we feel bad. And we have this entire welfare state that we've poured $20+ trillion in to try and help poor black and Mexican people because we feel bad, and so we have that pathological altruism in us. But then the sea change that's happening now with Trump is white people not being nice anymore. Mr. Nice Guy, goodbye. All right? White people are done being nice. We're done putting up with the horse shit. That's what I see in society. That's like what Trump represents. It's not white supremacy. It's not racism. It's not xenophobia. It's white people are tired of being nice. And it's like, you can only be so nice when like you're pathologically altruistic, and like we get blamed for slavery, but white people had slaves for the least amount of time in history, and we ended it. White Western European Christians ended slavery for the civilized world, and we endlessly get blamed for it like we were the only people who ever had slaves in the history of the fucking planet. And it's a horseshit narrative, but it's constantly, we're browbeated with it over and over and over. Slavery, slavery, slavery. We're told that we committed genocide on the Native Americans when it was actually 90% of them died out because of a smallpox transmission that was in no way deliberate. Smallpox blankets, total myth. We had no germ theory of disease at the time, so we weren't like, oh, we can give them this disease if we cough on the blanket. Like, total horseshit narrative. And these are the things that are taught to us in public school, and we're supposed to feel bad, and we're supposed to just, pay our taxes and shut up and don't say anything about race and don't say anything about gender, and because we're privileged and we have it the best. But if we get labeled a racist, we can be deplatformed and get fired from our job and doxxed. But if you call a black person a nigger, oh my God, and they're gonna feel bad. But Kramer is the one who loses his entire career because he said the word nigger, and no, those black people in the crowd, well, they felt bad for the moment. Oh my God, oh, I felt bad. And it's like, that is supposed to balance out. It's like, it's not adding up in people's minds anymore. That's why you see Trump getting more and more support, and people are seeing through the horseshit social justice narrative and the cultural Marxist nonsense that's being purveyed on the public. It's not going to fly anymore. And I think the wall is getting built, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's what it's all building up to. A big, sterling, Trumpian wall on the southern border. Because it's about white people not hating themselves. Like, you could just look at the innovations scientifically and technologically in the modern world. Who did it? Who's responsible for building the technology that enables us to have this stream right now? Is it the Africans? Is it the Filipinos? Is it the Brazilians? Oh no, no! And 98% of all the scientific advancements since the 1400s. Whitey, the big evil white patriarchy created all that lovely, indoor plumbing and computing power and internet and smartphones that we all enjoy. Now, I'm not saying it was me, because I don't take pride in racial accomplishments, just as I don't take blame for racial atrocities. I'm not saying I invented any of that shit. I'm just saying, to the people that are criticizing white people in general, you really shouldn't do it on your smartphone or using the internet, because that's just, you wouldn't want to be hypocritical, would you? And it's so funny because they don't even care about being hypocrites. White people really care about being hypocrites. Other people, not so much. Because, especially people on the left. I shouldn't just say other people, but people on the left don't care about being hypocrites. And people on the left include a lot of white people that hate themselves. They don't care about being hypocrites. All they want is, to have no one challenge their narrative, so they don't have to confront the horseshit that's circulating in their own brain. And they want it to be enforced by the state, so they don't have to think about it.
so they don't have to deal with these evil Nazi libertarians that are alt-right and white supremacist. Horse shit. Don Lemonhead. Oh, Sarah Jong. Is that New York Times Asian chick who just hates Whitey? When the Democrats didn't stand for not killing kids that have already been born, it was over. Yeah, that was a big watershed moment. Like, the middle of the country is just, like, if there was any confirmation that the middle of the country needed that the left is literally demonic, that was it. When you support fucking chopping a baby's head off after it's already been born, it's like, man. And then you use the leftover fucking fetal cells to make your facial cream. What's up, Rob Hope? He heard that in Virginia, it's near illegal in New York. They should be all shot, those who kill babies. Yeah, it's about anti-humanism, because these people that have this ideology hate themselves. And it's the same thing with environmentalism. You fundamentally look at and overpopulation, the myth of overpopulation. They fundamentally look at human beings as a virus. They look at it like John Smith from The Matrix. We're a virus. We're mold on a sandwich. That's how they look at humanity. They look at us fundamentally as consumers of resources, because they in themselves are not creative, so they don't see the creative facilities of human beings and the innovation that we've manifested on the planet. They don't take that into consideration. It's just a bunch of, animals that, have no creative spirit, and they're just destroying the planet. It's like, no, we're using the resources of the planet to benefit humanity. The planet's going to be around long after humanity goes extinct. All right, so we might as well use the resources at our disposal to make ourselves more comfortable and more productive. But the environmentalists don't see it that way. They see human beings as fundamentally consumers and not producers, because a lot of these people that hate themselves, they can't create. They can't create anything meaningful because they're not attached to what the truth of reality is. They're often this like deluded narcissistic thing where it's all about satisfying my needs in the moment. That they universalize that to all of humanity, of like everybody's like that. It's all about greed and consuming as much as you can get and getting as much money as you can get, and that's what happiness is about. And it's like, it's fucking nonsense. And it's like that's why I have solidarity with Christians, is because they don't look at the world like that. Like, despite the fact that they believe in religious horseshit magic and Jesus magic that's not real, they have an individualist mindset, and they have a belief in the soul of the individual to be able to create in the image of God. That's a beautiful idea. It's not true. We don't have a soul. It's not true. But there is something true about human consciousness and the creativity of human consciousness and where it comes from. And it's a mystery. It's not God. It's not Jesus. It's a mystery. It's a beautiful mystery that's elucidated in the pages of the Bible. You can read the Bible and have this emotional reaction to it, and that produces faith in some people. But in other people, it produces a beautiful question, a beautiful mystery. How did we get conscious? How did we come about? How did we, evolve from lower primate hominids into what we are now? It's a big fucking mystery. But it's also a beautiful mystery. And and human creative consciousness is a beautiful thing to tap into. And if you deny that and you just say we're just an animal, we're just a consuming animal, well, yeah, then we're plundering the earth and destroying the planet. But if you say that we're an animal with a little something extra, if we're an animal with something magical, I don't believe in magic, but goddamn, if anything is magical, human consciousness is magical. And so if you believe in that creative energy in humanity, then, you know, it's about building the future. It's about going and exploring space. It's about colonizing other planets. It's about exploring the fucking universe that's around us. It's not about, oh my God, we shouldn't use fossil fuels. We should all have clean energy. And it's like, it's not what it's about. The planet will survive humanity. Will humanity survive itself? Who the fuck knows? We've got some good comments here. What's up, vaping Carper? 9/11 was an inside job. I haven't seen any compelling evidence that it was a legitimate inside job. I go with, you know, it was a legitimate terrorist attack that was capitalized by the deep state and the military-industrial complex there to have a big war in the Middle East and get their resources and you know, make a lot of money for the military contractors there. Yeah, we'll never truly know, but yes, it is beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful mystery, man. And it discredits the mystery to say that you know. To say that you know that God exists, you know that Jesus was magic, you know that we have a soul. I mean, it muddies it. It throws it in the dirt, you know. And it pisses me off that science has been so corrupted by the government that now our brightest minds are working on these fucking horseshit climate models that are supposed to predict the climate in the next 10 to 20 years. And it's like the weatherman at your local news station can't even get the 10-day forecast right. But somehow these climate scientists that are funded by the government want you to pay climate taxes to stave off this disaster that they have no proof for, but they're gonna tell you it's happening. We don't need to show you any proof. It's just happening. Okay, so acquiesce to our demands. We need our grant money. Listen to Bill Nye. Yeah, that's the beauty in it, is looking for the answer. You know, finding the missing link in evolution. You know, finding what makes human brains different from other animal brains and what lets us have, you know, language and self-consciousness and self-reflectiveness. And if you listen to Terrence McKenna or Joe Rogan, it was all the mushrooms. All right? Some monkeys took mushrooms and turned into humans. The stoned ape theory. I don't know. I've taken 5 dry grams of psilocybin mushrooms at one point. But, you know, the only learning came from the fact that, you know, I felt like I was going to die at some point. Even though I know nobody dies from mushrooms, I was like, I'm going to be the first casualty, you know. And then you start thinking about what everybody would say about you if you died during a mushroom trip. You know, he idolized Bill Hicks and Terrence McKenna, both guys who died early, like drug-addicted idiots that they were. I mean, I definitely felt connected. I was laying in my bed. I felt connected to my bed sheets there. I was melting into the environment. But there is a value in, considering what your legacy would be if you died right now. What your friends and family would say about you. How you made them feel, as while you were around them, Because ultimately that's going to be the echo that you leave in the world when you go away, is how you made people feel, what you made people think that were around you. How did you influence anybody for the better, And so that kind of refocused my priorities. That kind of pushed me toward, I got to do comedy and I got to talk about what I think is true, because that's the people that helped me in my life, was Bill Hicks and fucking Joe Rogan at some point, and Terrence McKenna, and the people that articulated these ideas and made me feel like I wasn't alone, and made me feel like there was something special about saying what you think is true, and disregarding anybody who tries to shame you out of it, and not conforming to the herd, and stepping outside and not caring what people think about it, and you having a personal relationship with not a religion, not an institutionalized system, but the truth itself. Having a relationship with the truth itself and sharing that with other people. That's what we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen. We're changing lives. I don't mean to get all Tony Robbins on you motherfuckers. But shit, sometimes shit gets real, ladies and gentlemen.
Is it really sometimes, or is it always real? Real.
What are you doing over there?
Killing people? I'm lynching white people. What are you doing?
Heaven's killing white people and looking to bury them somewhere.
No, I'm going to eat them and wear their skin. Whiteface.
Bless you, Rick Cheeseman. Is that it?
So his last name is Cheeseman?
His last name is Cheeseman. He's a cheese man.
That is the best last name ever, Mr. Cheeseman. Have you ever seen Wallace and Gromit? What is it more? No, it's like, what is it more cheese? Gromit, I need more cheese. I think it's a great last name, Cheeseman.
I've been eating some white sharp cheddar tonight in to honor white supremacy.
Yeah, because black cheese is called mold.
Black cheese is called mold. That's true. We have some black cheese growing on the corners of our shower.
Don't tell them that.
But I scrubbed it off this morning.
You did. I was very proud of you. I was like, less mold. And by the way, guys, I do clean. I'm just never home because I'm too busy saving children. So don't be like, why is black girl not cleaning? Because I'm not home.
That's what they were all thinking. Why is the black girl not cleaning?
Maybe you weren't, but I was. And
I'm working on establishing our slave and slave master relationship, and it's going quite well.
He's got the whipping down now. That's the first thing he got right away. He tells me I'm worthless every day, and we have sex without even my consent. So there's that.
Oh, I can't say black cheese. That's cheesist.
Did Mr. Cheeseman say that?
Cheese of color.
Did Cheeseman say that?
No.
That's the funniest shit ever. I'm cheeses. Cheeses.
Cheese of color.
Wait,
we need a
Jesus Christ.
we need a diversity of cheese.
Your cheese is crust.
multi cheese culturalism.
Yes.
Chigro. Are you a chigro?
Chigro, please.
Chigro, please.
Chigro and chain. The underground cheese road. Oh my god.
Your cheese kind got to sit at the back of the bus.
Pepper black cheese.
Is that? Can you check if that espresso maker is on? Because it looks like it's
Let
on.
me turn it on. Ooh, it is on.
Shit, turn it off.
Ooh.
It's been on for fucking 10 hours.
Why? That's the same guy who
My
also...
espresso maker. It's God damn it.
I may burn stuff, but he has left the stove on more than once for hours.
I don't remember this.
I do, because I came home right in time, right when the alarm started coming off, and
Okay, I remember
Sandy
now.
called you, and then you're like, I was like, I just got home. You're like,
I remember now. White privilege only goes so far, ladies and gentlemen. He's not perfect.
Wow. But the black girl saved the day, whatever.
Yeah, I don't need no more. I don't need coffee. I just drink White Claw all day long.
No, he's gonna be a white trash man. I'm a white trash man. What do you do, Cheeseman?
I want to push back against the use of the term white trash. It's very racist.
Wait, is white trash just clean trash?
It's very demeaning. I think we need to introduce the terms black trash and brown trash
How much trash is trash? No one wants to be trashy. What
to balance it out.
Mr. Cheese.
There's some Mexican people that live in trailers too. Why can't they be brown
And
trash?
guess what? There's trailers that are actually really nice and beautiful. There are double wides that I've seen that are better than most people's apartments. So fuck off and die. I don't want to be in a trailer. How nice is a trailer? How much does it cost? Is it free?
This is multicultural claw. This is not white claw. Okay, it's diversity claw.
Black Claw. Black power. Black Claw power.
Oh shit.
I like the cheese girl. It's hilarious. Pepper black cheese.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a lovely diatribe we've had, and I have a creeper. Yeah, I'm glad YouTubers promoting the stream. That's cool shit. We got some new people popping in here. Glad to have you, Rick. I do this pretty much every goddamn night after I get home from the comedy club. And I get on here and talk shit and say what I think is true and say what I think is fucking funny. Rob Hope, you the motherfucking man. Constructive commentaries there. I love all you bad motherfuckers out there. If you like it, like it. If you want to share it out. Hit that subscribe button. We got Bitcoin addresses below and shit. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get the full audio of it, I put it on all the podcast apps under Outrage Cast, all one word. And we rocking it out, ladies and gentlemen. Balls out every night. We putting the balls on the table.
And
Balls on the chopping block.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but he also encourages you to bring your balls to the table too, unjudged. Definitely commented on.
Don't send pictures of your balls. That's,
No, I mean like your opinions. It's not like, oh, don't say this. You can say whatever the fuck you want, unless I'm wrong.
anything goes on the Outrage Cast, baby, because it's outrageous by nature.
Yes, believe your power. Cheese girl.
All right, I love all you beautiful motherfuckers. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday morning, and blessed are the truth tellers,
Bye.
ladies and gentlemen.